All right, guys, welcome back to the caster's desk here for our series in Group C, which will determine, unfortunately, which of our Brazilian players is going to go out. Sad times.
Oh, I just thought I misspelled my name. Shame on you, ESL production crew. Worked for you guys for years. Kevin van Duckhoy, come on. Where's the R when you need it?
I think they probably did it on purpose just to troll you, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yes, as you mentioned, it's going to be a Brazilian match. It's going to be a really fun one. Two guys that I'm pretty familiar with, as I run into them on ladder quite a bit, and I can guarantee you guys that these guys are good. Of course, when they go up against a hero or a Paul, sometimes it looks a little one-sided, and you're like, you know, maybe they're not that good, but they are good. They are high masters, if not rank one master, low GM. They are good players, and you cannot underestimate them. And I think these kind of matches are really fun because there's a lot of national pride on the line. Let's not forget the winner of this series can say like, hey, I beat you at IEM. He can say that for a long time because that's probably the biggest stage that they will play against each other for a while. That's
certainly true. Kelazhur advanced through the open bracket after actually defeating Dakon, a guy who was touted as one of the best Brazilians in attendance. So unfortunately for Dakon, didn't actually make it through, but Kelazhur during that series looked really, really strong. It was standard play, standard pokes and prods, but he executed it really, really nicely. Now, will this catch Tunico off guard here in terms of can Tunico actually deal with it? He almost dealt with some of Polt's pokes, but I mean, it's Polt, man, so what are you going to do?
Polt has ridiculous macro in that matchup, and that goes, that's very hard. Kelazhur is a little tricky as well, though. Even though he looked indeed very straight up, very solid against Zerg, all the games I've seen from him so far against Terran and against Protoss as well have been kind of strange, often having like multiple Rexes, 3-4 Rexes on one base, creating a lot of Reapers and then expanding behind it. Against Zerg, it's a little harder to make that kind of stuff work, because hey, if you invest in 5 Reapers and speed finishes up and you lose all your Reapers, and you're pretty far behind economically. Either way, I think it's going to be a really fun matchup. I'd still give the edge to Tunico, as I feel that he's a little more experienced, and in this matchup perhaps a little more solid as well, but I think it's going to be a really fun fight.
Yeah, I certainly think so as well. It's always nice to get a glimpse into these regions and how they play out. It's like when we go to Singapore, for example, and we get people like old school Revenant coming along and playing some games, and we have Blisk and all those guys playing out. I really do enjoy some of these games. Obviously, you know, you don't see the highest of high play like we saw from Polt versus Hero, for example, which was a great series. I really enjoyed watching that one. But it's a different kind of cool. It's a different kind of nice to be able to just see exactly what these guys are made of.
And don't think they're not playing for anything, because there is a price difference between finishing 3rd and 4th in your group. It's just $50, but still $50. You know, a lot of people probably think like, well, that's a lot of money in Brazil. No, the opposite is true, because like Brazil is really, really expensive.
Yeah.
But let's say you can get 2 Caipirinhas for it, and that still makes it worth it.
Yeah, Caipirinha is pretty good. I like the Caipirinha. You've turned me on to the Caipirinha, and it's certainly serving well. Man, the drinks are strong over here. they like to make them strong, but there we go. So now Kelazhur versus Tunico. I would have to still give the edge to Tunico. You know, Tunico has been, for a long, long time, one of the best Brazilian players, up there with Portugal and Levin, who did retire a little bit ago. But aside from that, Kelazhur is like that up-and-comer of the Brazilian scene that's trying to get his name out there. He does play for Core Gaming, which is, it is a US team, right?
Yep, it's a pretty legit team. They have a lot of good players on the team, actually. I run into those guys all the time on ladder, and the majority of the time they do beat me. Fun little story, when I just arrived in the Introductory Masters, Kelazhur, who were like not to make any racial comments or whatever, but when he walked up to me, I thought like, you know, he could be Irish. Like when you look at him.
Yes, he could.
So he walked up to me, I was like, oh, hey, you're A-bomb? He's like, no, I'm Kelazhur. I'm like 6-0 against you on ladder. I was like, wow, what a way to introduce yourself. But he's a really cool dude. We had a lot of fun with each other. And yeah, he just seems nice overall, and I was watching a couple of his games. I watched him play against Hero earlier this morning. That didn't go that well for him. This should be a much more even match. I think both players are ready. I'm just going to double check.
Awesome. No, but I have to agree with you. Speaking from the ginger perspective, he definitely could be Irish. I know quite a bit about this. But now, hopefully we'll be getting into our first map. First map will actually be Frost for this ZVT. The winner will advance on to play against Hero, who is waiting in the wings to dive upon one of these opponents. And well, that's a big hurdle to advance over into the round of 8.
Yep, it's going to be tough for either of them, but still, it's going to be a really fun match. There's a lot on the line, a lot of national pride on the line. We saw Shakti have an excellent showing yesterday, even managing to defeat Hello Kitty before falling to TLO. One of these guys is going to leave an impression on us as well. As you said, you're going to give the edge to Tunico. I'm going to give the edge to Tunico, but I know that Kelazhur is good, so I'm looking forward to what he brings to the table here.
All right, well, spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner here as our blue Terran representing Core Gaming, he is Kelazhur. And up to the top right, we have our red Zerg. Representing KLG, it's Tunico. That jersey, man. That little dude from Ice Age on it, it's so impressive.
He has a cool logo as well. I like the spinning logo next to his hatchery.
Yeah, it's nice. It is nice.
That looks legit. When you look at that, you're like, man, you're part of a good team, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. It kind of looks like the SK logo in terms of how it's constructed.
Yeah, a little bit, but it looks cooler than that. Like you can see this thing spinning around and like sparks coming off on the sides.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
Unfortunately, my Portuguese is a little rusty, guys, so I will not be able to translate any of the most likely friendly chit-chat that these two players will be exchanging. What we can expect from Kelazhur, like we mentioned before, is just pretty solid play, guys. Just pretty solid straight up. He will maybe open up with a Reaper, then make a few Marines. Might actually be Commencent the first over here, because it's Frost after all. And after that, he just likes to make some Hellions. Sometimes a Banshee as follow-up as well, Hellion Banshee. I'm pretty sure that he's been watching a couple of the other fantastic Terrans in this tournament play. Maybe took a few notes out of Jaxi versus... who did Jaxi play again? Did Jaxi play Shakti? No. Jaxi played WM.
Yes, WM, yeah, you're right.
But I can guarantee you that Tunico is quite a bit better than WM, so that's not going to be that easy for Kelazhur. Either way, it should be fun, like I said multiple times.
Yeah, Tunico's been around for a long, long, long time. Again, I remember casting him back in WCS Brazil 2012, where unfortunately in the first round he did end up falling to another Zerg player, Nax. Who actually made quite an impression on me. I'm kind of sad that Nax isn't here. Although one of the guys did say that Nax said hi to me through him, so I was like, hey! That was a long time ago, but still remembers me, which is nice.
Tunico ain't afraid to take a stand over here, as he's going to go double hatch before pool. That's not something we see super often in this matchup, but what he did see, I believe, with the Overlord is that it is commenced the first on the low ground for Kelazhur, so neither players are showing a lot of fear of cheeses and whatnot.
And this drone's going to get in and get confirmation that there is indeed that gas down, so, well, he needs to go up there eventually after.
I think this is better, though, because this is more frustrating for Kelazhur to deal with.
That's
true. He might end up losing an SCV if he doesn't start repairing it. Well, instead he's going to change, but then he's going to have to start something over here, because he's going to have to repair the other SCV. I like what Tunico is doing over here. This makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and normally you have to actually bring two SCVs down here to fully deal with this, but he only brought the one down.
See, and like this command center is delayed already for like a couple of seconds. There are two SCVs extremely low in HP. He might be able to seize upon that opportunity a little later. He doesn't get the confirmation that there is a gas down, but you know, a player like Tunico, well, he's still going to see that right now. If he commits, no, doesn't want to commit, I think it's fine. He knows probably, like, what else do you expect? 7 Rex?
Yeah, exactly. Anything else would be a bit strange than that gas going down and him just playing it out normally, especially after, you know, seeing Kelazhur do so well against Drakon in that open bracket whilst the open brackets were going on. But now Tunico, he's got his gas up. He can start going for speed if he so wishes, and the factory is on the way here for Kelazhur. So he is just playing standard as standard can be, aside from, you know, Reapers, but you can't really do too much with those after the command center first.
Exactly, it's just a choice that he made. He decided to go economic. His opponent went super economic, and I'm very curious to see how many Hellions we are going to see from Kelazhur, because it might be, after he realizes what he's playing against, that he's going to make a few more and try to make something happen with them. Second refinery is about to finish up as well, so I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him throw down the starport as soon as the factory finishes up. So we might see some Hellion Banshee play from Kelazhur, which is in the line of expectation.
Yeah, that's going to be all right here for Mr. Kelazhur. Just those standard little pokes and prods. The SC actually died to the Queens before he got information about the third base. So that could come back to haunt him, since he didn't even see creep down there. Never mind the base.
Yeah, he has no idea that his opponent went double heads before pool. But I'm pretty sure that these two guys know each other very well, as they, you know, they probably practice with each other if they don't have to play in some sort of high prestige tournament. So I don't think that Kelazhur is like super surprised if the opponent decides to go for 2 heads before pool. I also don't think that Tunico would have done it if it wasn't for the fact that his first Overlord was sent in the right direction and he saw that command center on the low ground.
Very quick confirmation that the Hellions are now on the way here for Tunico, so he can start to prepare. He already throws down a Spine Crawler in his third base, but these Hellions, again, they don't even know it's there. They can check very quickly, though, so Tunico taking good precautions early on to make sure that he can hold on.
It's not just going to be Banshees, James. It's going to be Cloak Banshees over here for Kelazhur. He's going to go up to 6 Hellions, maybe even more. But of course, on that point, it gets it becomes sort of a commitment where you're really going to have to make some sort of magic happen. We see 14 links on the production tab right now, while he has a 10 drone lead. Well, soon to be 9.
Yep, getting one worker and the second as the extra Hellions do come along, and even more being pumped out here. Wow, actually quite a few. So third command center is going to go down behind this. He's going to be going up to 8 Hellions pretty soon.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. What I really like though is this Cloak Banshee follow-up. There's still no lay attack down. There's not a single spore anywhere. These Banshees could do some serious work because there are plenty of queens out. There's a double eBay follow-up as well. So for the people who are like, maybe he's going mech. Nope. Seems like he's just going to go for Banshees for bioplay. But I think Kelazhur is putting himself in a really good position. I can see these Banshees do some serious work.
The thing's going to try and come from the behind here, and actually just going through the bush as those Hellions go through as well, making it really hard for Kelazhur to actually see that attack coming. Perfect timing there by Tunico, as the Zerglings will push this on away, but now the second wave of the assault with the Banshee will start.
That's actually a massive pickup, because normally if that would have been engaged properly by Kelazhur with 8 Hellions, he can roast almost unlimited amounts of Zerglings. He kind of wasted an opportunity now, but I must say all the props go to Tunico for the way he set it up. 3 spores are on the way. This Banshee will still have a little bit of time to be annoying and pick up a few drones, but at the same time there's going to be non-stop drone production right now because he doesn't have to worry about the Hellions anymore.
Yeah, such a great edge and such a great engagement now. Tunico sitting pretty, has a few lings outside his opponent's base as well, just in case he sees anything move out on the ground. And well, the third command center is now finished up here for Kelazhur. So he's gonna continue on with the macro route. He's adding on a few more barracks, but aside from that, Tunico he's fully fledged and flying, man, adding on that 5th and 6th gas geyser.
He made 4 more Hellions. He's 2 more on the way. So how many Hellions did he produce throughout the entire game? Like 14?
Yeah, we're up to that. It's crazy numbers. So I mean, I guess they do work out really nicely to complement against just Zerglings, but as the game progresses, it becomes a little bit more dead weight. Unless he wants to harass with them.
It's unlikely when there are Spine Crawlers, when there are quite a few Zerglings above, or the drone count is this high. I think he was just worried because he had absolutely 0 map vision, and he wanted to see if he had to worry about some sort of crazy baneling boss. He only made it, he has 2 Banshees, but so far, okay, one of the other Banshees right now is engaging these 2 queens. That's not going to be a very good fight, especially not with that spore supporting those queens. So he decides to back off. Yeah,
I missed a little bit of harassment with this Banshee. It did get 9 kills up to the top, but we did also see a few of it over at the third as well. But now, Tunico, he just pounces at the opportunity, man. He got a few kills for himself. The Hellions will be able to fend this off eventually, as long as they're controlled properly with the Banshees as well. So, nicely done by Kelazhur.
Actually, this is very well done. Perhaps this is why he remade those Hellions. He wanted to take that third orbital as quick, or that third base basically, as quick as possible. And he realized that if he had to wait for his marine production to really go up, he had to wait for all those reactors to finish up, and it was just going to take a little too long. He said, nope, I'm just going to take it with my Hellions. That should be good enough, and it is good enough for now.
Even repairing up all these units just to make sure that they're capable of doing things later on, which is always nice. Love to see unit retention here from our Terran player. Slightly supply blocks, but he'll get out of that once he starts those supply depots, or if he loses a few units, but for now he is capped, so has to be careful about that, with Tunico adding on a ton more drones, looking to populate that base over to the left-hand side, and his income is going to get really strong.
It's a really big supply block. He already used call down for supply depots, but he's still supply blocked. Terran has a massive economy. The same will can be said for our Zerg, though. I was a little bit surprised, by the way, by the moment he sent in that Overlord, because he sent in an Overlord in the phase of the game where he could have had an Overseer, which obviously would have seen a lot more than the Overlord he sacrificed in the main base, but well, nobody's perfect, James.
That's true, and then now those Banshees get the confirmation with that imperfect queen marching over there, trying to get a little bit done, but these 2 Banshees, having found this base, this is really, really difficult. And meanwhile, look at this, pushing through and killing off the creep on the right.
Yep, pick off a queen as well. This hatchery on the left side is taking quite a bit of damage. We got creep-way aggression right now from Kelazhur with these Hellions as well in that original third base. The Banshees are still working on that fourth base, and we have those Marines to worry about. Brazilian Terran is playing pretty well right now.
Certainly is. Oh, will he be able to get these Banelings, though, at the very end? He's already focused 2 down, and then now still trying to do some damage over at this fourth, but the Mutalisks pop just in time.
It's very low on HP though, so perhaps with these medevacs he can send them to the left side of the map, then he can still pick up that base. If he's able to deny that fourth base, that would be a great victory, because a 3-base Terran with those 2-2 upgrades, even being a little ahead of our Zerg player, can pump out a ridiculous amount of Marines, Marauders, and above all Widow Mines. So if Kelazhur doesn't mess up in a micro, I still think he's in a pretty good position.
Oh, catch just maybe 1 or 2 of these Mutalisks. No, only kind of scratches one on the very edge. And now those Mutas, I mean, they are looking for drop potential. Like, as you rightly pointed out, up to the top left, it's so weak. There's always going to be those drop ships heading up. But where are they? The Mutalisks are hunting them down. But it's so far away right now.
Look at all these upgrades finishing up at the same time. Combat shield and +2 armor, +2 attack. Here come those Mutalisks, but there is a Widow Mine. There's a bunker with a missile turret, and the other turrets on the high ground won't finish up, or one of them will, but not before it dies immediately. But if it's at the cost of the 4 Terran, I'm not sure if this is going to be worth it. There are a lot of Zerglings and Banelings over here, though.
Yeah, looking to try and kill off a lot of this bio that is pushing on forward. Still, those double drops on the left-hand side do remain, and they will try and push on forwards to that top left-hand corner. So now Tunico has to be very, very careful about all of this aggression heading everywhere, because Kelazhur he is really everywhere at these points.
Yeah, both players playing pretty quick as well, around 200 APM average, sometimes even way over that. Our Zerg, yeah, is gonna have a big problem when he's losing his 4th base, and I think he might lose it right here, as there are a bunch of Marines. They're gonna pick up the Queen, pick up the Spore. A few drones were like, come on, focus on the hedge, son.
Oh, he really needs to kill that off with these, and those Zerglings are gonna flood on back. It's gonna go down though. Yes, it does. Kelazhur gets the base, and now that limits a lot of the production as well as the income here of Tunico. Whilst we see him clearing up creep in the middle once again, will those Banelings get connections that they want to? They all roll through. They actually don't do too badly. Kelazhur loses a lot of Marines.
That's an understatement. Those Banelings did excellent, picked up a crazy amount of Marines. That's exactly what Tunico needed. Is it enough to counter-attack? It's going to be hard to just break the walls though, but he does have a nice unit advantage, even though of course with all those reactors a lot of Marines will always be ready and eager to join in new combat. There's no +3 armor, I just realized, and right when I was about to say it, he fired it up.
Yeah, well, that is on the way, and we still have, once again, Kelazhur being annoying over at the left-hand side. Got to be careful about these Widow Mines that are still here, and, well, okay, there you go. But the Mutalisks clean up another drop, and there's 24 on the field right now, but he's only got +1 weapons on the way.
I'm kind of worried about that, because we have 24 Mutalisks, which of course is a massive commitment, and Mutas are fantastic, but they haven't really done anything aggressively. They haven't really done any harassment other than picking off 2 missile turrets, but I mean, that's the least of your worries if you're a Terran player, losing a missile turret here and there. Other than that, they haven't really been able to intercept drops. They were not really there to clean up fights. I don't think that these Mutas have really paid for themselves yet.
Well, they're going to try and do so over at this 4th base, killing off some missile turrets, but the Marines will push them away. He still has to be very careful about those 3 Widow Mines that still sat in the middle of that creep. He needs to clean those up.
He lost it overseer, that was really frustrating, and then the one Widow Mine actually blew up like 3-4 Banelings as well. 7 more Mutas on the way. Man, this guy really loves his Mutas. He's gonna go up to 31 Mutalisks. He has a lot of Zerglings, he's morphing a lot of Banelings, very close to Kelazhur's fort. I don't think our Terran is aware of this.
Pushing on forwards. Will he be able to deal the significant damage that he needs to over at this 4th base? Very important for him to bring this down, and yes, he will end up doing so. Meanwhile, all the Marines out of position to actually defend that, and he loses a command center very, very easily there.
I'm kind of surprised, because our Terran player is being close to maxed out, and it felt like he had like 12 Marines to be able to defend that entire army of Tunico. He has 66 Marines, but he's fighting with very small portions of his army. This could definitely come back to haunt him.
Lots of Widow Mines try and burrow. Drilling Claws is done. Will they be able to get the connections to get a lot of those Banelings? But he has to pick up all of the Marines, as so the swarm is just too big right now.
Yeah, that's because our Terran is not fighting with his entire army. He has a 170 supply army. He has over 70 Marines, but the majority of the time he's just fighting with 20 to 15. Here we see another wave of Marines. A couple of Widow Mines are burrowed in good positions. Should be able to get good connections.
Will he get those Banelings? Then in the end, they do kill themselves off for the costs of the Widow Mines. So not too bad for Tunico, because right now he does have his 4th base up and running, but it is being hit once again here by Kelazhur, trying to keep himself in this game.
And most units are out of position. +3 is ready for these units. His hatchery is most likely going to fall if he focuses it. And yes, he does. He can even pick up these units. Well, here are the Mutalisks. They will probably take care of that.
So many.
So 4th base for a 4th base. You know, normally with no signs of like an Ultralisk transition on the way, the no pathogen glands, something like that, I kind of like the position of the Terran, but it does seem like Tunico is getting the better hand of these big fights.
Yeah, it does. He's slowly trading away pretty well, and the Banelings are doing the jobs that they need to. The Kelazhur's splitting isn't, you know, top level here when it goes into the engagement. So
there could be a little bit of nerves as well. Let's not forget that it's not every day you play at the Indo Extreme Masters, especially not in your home country.
Well, now will he actually move into this? There are a few Widow Mines burrowed there to be able to push this away, and the army here for Tunico very clumped up. He's looking to pressure this third base, which isn't as well defended, but all
these Banelings are kind of in an awkward position now. I think there are a lot of Widow Mines here somewhere around. He needs good splits. If he ever needs good splits, he needs it now. These Widow Mines getting reasonable connections, but there are still so many Banelings.
A lot of those Marines on the high ground were helping out quite considerably, but it doesn't really matter anyway, as the Zerglings and Banelings continue to flood on forwards, and now the Marines trying to rally out as best they can do. There's still one or two Widow Mines at the bottom there, but they've all expended their charge, and now it's up to really those missile turrets if he would fly over to them, as well as this 1-4, but that goes down. This Mutalisk, this huge Mutalisk flock has done wonders for Tunico.
Wow, the Marine count actually all the way down to 16. This might have been a moment where he could have even done more. A couple of forgotten Widow Mines getting really good connections on the right side, picking up a handful of Mutalisk. 21 additional Banelings morphing, but Kelazhur does have this planetary fortress. He is able to produce 13, 14 Marines at once. I wouldn't even mind to see him throw down 2 more Rexes, because I think actually he has Rexes at his original turret. He's throwing down more command centers. Like, this should really be good for the Terran. All he needs to do is stabilize, and then he has those 3-3 Marines and Marauders and Widow Mines here and there. He should be in good shape. Yeah,
exactly. That 3-3 is really the power punch that Kelazhur was looking for all game long.
He has an army supply advantage. Now he's running into Banelings. That's not a good thing to do.
Oh, not microing all against those, losing a lot of those Marines, whilst the Mutalisks also were putting some harassment on at the second base.
There are 4 missile turrets over here. That should be good enough to scare those Mutalisks away for now. Mutas does have +2. 10 more Mutas. Okay, he did fall down to 20. It just seems like 30 Mutalisks is the magic number for Tunico, but I am worried, James. He's not getting Hive. He has no infestation pit. He will never have 3-3 upgrades. Like, all that Kelazhur has to do right now is just chill, sit back, max out, and then your army should be way better than the Zerg's army.
Well, yeah, you're right. That 3-3, as I said before, it's so strong. And now Kelazhur is looking to push around the right-hand side whilst also dropping that 4th base yet again here for Tunico. His army is way out of position. If they stim up and go for this, then they may be able to kill it, but he's going to go for the drones. He's going to go for a lot of eco damage, unless, of course, it can be replenished. Those Mutalisks have to get back there to deal with it.
Mutas are here. They're not focusing on the Marines yet. They should be able to keep this hatchery alive for now, but not before losing a lot of mining time, losing 12, 13 drones. At the same time, Kelazhur is moving forward over here on the right side of the map. Once more, Banelings getting pretty good connections, but at least a few Marines survive. That has been different in the past.
Yeah, that's true. Kelazhur now with that Marine advantage over at this location. He's going to focus this hatchery down very quickly. Will it go down? Those Banelings need to push it away as quickly as they can do. They get the connections that they want. The Mutalisks also flying in with those Banelings as well to push it away. Tunico is on top of things, pushing everything back from the Terran.
Really fun match to watch. Both players seem to be very evenly matched, like you're just going punch for punch and trading blow for blow. But still, this should be good for our Terran. He has a lot of missile turrets all around. Of course, he is mining out his bases probably a little quicker. He is trying to secure a 5th base on the left bottom side of the map. It is morphing into a planetary fortress right now. If he does get it up and he throws down 4 or 5 turrets, like we can see that he really wants to do, if this base stabilizes, there should be no way that he loses.
Just continuing to fly around with these Mutalisks and try and pick off any stragglers that he can possibly find. If he were to get over to this left-hand side base and maybe do some damage there, that would be nice. There's not actually that many Marines to contest against.
Nope. Kelazhur needs to send more Marines. He also needs to repair this planetary fortress. That's exactly what he does. Be careful with most of those Mutalisks.
Oh, needs to stay alive somehow, some way. Those Marines are buying the time that they need, but at the same time, will the reinforcing ones get there in time? It's going to be very close. He's repairing nicely, and he will end up holding on.
Yep, lost the turret, lost those Marines, but he keeps the base alive. Will immediately rain down some mules, and as soon as he gets 4 or 5 turrets over here, he should be in a really good position.
Yes.
But I keep saying that, but he seems to have a really hard time getting favorable engagements against Tunico. Tunico, of course, with reasonable creep spread and overall a nice mobility movement from all these Zerglings and Banelings.
Very well matched up right now. Got to echo your sentiments in that regard as Kelazhur tries to hold on at his 3rd base. whilst pushing away the Mutalisks at the fort. The Banelings once again roll on forwards and kill off a Thor.
Very nice done there, picking up those Marines, dropping them on the high ground. That's really what he needed. Those Banelings wouldn't be able to get there in time. This command center will burn down, but it's not that important. That's all that matters is that he kept that 5th base up and running in the left bottom side of the map. And now all that Kelazhur needs to do is just sit back, relax for a little sec. You have an upgrade advantage. All you need to do is just, you know, be close to being maxed out.
Ooh, still Widow Mines all burrowing everywhere and getting a few detonations.
Oh.
Getting the rest of the Banelings as well. Nicely done, but he did sacrifice a few Widow Mines for that.
Yep. Meanwhile, Tunico is trying to get his own 5th base as well over there on the left side.
Trying as best he can do, whilst he has to also hold off these Marines on the right. Jeez, Kelazhur does not let up with the relentless assault.
6th base, of course, and this is one of the main reasons why Tunico didn't take this base immediately, as it's just a lot harder to defend than that base on the left top side of the map. So he will lose his original 5th, but the one that I thought was the 5th is actually the 6th, of course, over here on the left side of the map. Kelazhur is in great shape. All he needs to do once more is just actually fight with his entire army. He's been doing a really good job at picking up hatcheries left and right and exchanging Marines and Marauders for, or not that many Marauders, mostly Marines for Banelings. But it's about time that he, you know, moves out with 70, 80 Marines and then gets some favorable engagements.
Mutalisks looking maybe to take the engagement. He's morphing in a few Banelings, but they're going to be cancelled very, very rapidly. The Banelings crash into the left-hand flank, and there you go, GG. He just doesn't have enough to kill the rest of those Marines.
Yep, Tunico was never that rich, never got that transition going to Ultras, and was never able to get those 3-3 upgrades out. And excellent game here by our Terran player. He did a really good job in keeping that 4th base alive. There were a couple of crisis scenarios with a lot of Mutalisks, a lot of Banelings, but he kept it alive. And often when you have a 4th base, you can get a 5th base as well. And if you have 3-3 against 2-2, well, from that point on, you just produce a lot of Marines, and that's what he did.
You absolutely hit the nail on the head there. Not having that Hive, not having the ability in his mind to transition to Hive. Really brutal times there for Tunico in game number 1. And now Kelazhur, well, he looked so good in that game in the later stages. I mean, at the beginning, you know, the harassment didn't quite pay off for him as he would have liked it to after the triple hatch opener, but still, such good aggression throughout the mid and late.
Yeah, really fun, evenly matched game between these two excellent Brazilian players. Kelazhur is getting ready for our second match. I'm not sure yet which map it's going to be on. Seems to be on Jiangsu, so it's going to be a smaller map. I think the openings and strats are going to be quite similar, though.
Yeah, I would say so as well. Maybe we'll see Kelazhur be a bit more aggressive through the middle.
I like how you said that really careful. He's like, Kelazhur?
It's really hard for me to pronounce his name. I don't know why.
I asked the Brazilians as well. I was like, so is it like Kelazhur or is it like Kelazhur? And he's like, Kelazhur. I was like, huh? But as far as I know, it's like Kelazhur.
Kelazhur, okay. It's difficult for me to say. Even yesterday when I was watching all of his games and I was sat behind him, I was like, hey, I'm Kelazhur. I'm like, okay,
like you should just read his name, but ignore that there's an H there.
Yeah. Kelazhur. Yeah. You're a smart man, Roddy. You are a smart man.
I have my moments. I wouldn't go that far, James. It's a very big statement.
All right, well, let's get into game number 2 here very, very soon. Jiangsu is a map. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him be a little bit more aggressive, as this is a really nice map for Terrans to get that aggression going, that parade push very quickly off the back of maybe Reaper into Hellion, into Banshee, whatever he would like to do from there on.
Yeah, Kelazhur just played very well. And let's not forget that the early stage of Frost didn't even really go his way. He lost those Hellions, was forced to reproduce those Hellions, because otherwise it would have just been hard for him to secure that 3rd base. Excellent game, fun game, you know, trading punches left and right, but that's how StarCraft is supposed to be.
Certainly is now as we get into game number 2. Spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner as our red Zerg, representing KLG, currently 1 game down, it is Tunico. And up to the top right, we have our blue Terran, representing Core Gaming, it's Kelazhur.
Nailed it, James, nailed it.
Thanks. All right, this map, very, very different in comparison to Frost. A lot different. You do see those aggressive openers all the more often, and these rocks for a Zerg can be always super pesky when it comes to dealing with that kind of aggression.
Could be a hard map for Tunico to pick off those Hellions like he did on Frost. Of course, on Frost, it's a lot larger. It's a little easier to set up some sort of a trap. The execution was still brilliant, though, so I definitely don't want to give any discredit. But it's going to be harder for him to pull something like that off on Jiangsu, where it's just a little easier for Kelazhur to figure out what's going on around him.
Certainly so. Now as the GLHF is exchanged here at the Intel Extreme Masters, and now we will see if Kelazhur can take the 2-0 here in this round and move on to play against Hero, which is a huge task ahead of either of them.
Yeah, of course we should just give a small update to everyone who just joined the stream. What have you been missing so far today? Paul has played some excellent games against Hero, and Paul was able to win Group C, so he will join Bomber, MC, TLO and Jockey in the playoffs. We are already going to have 2 quarterfinals later today as well. It's going to be sick. Those, of course, will be best of 5 like you are used to from the Intel Extreme Masters in the playoffs. I can't wait for that. But for now, it's all about Group C. After this, there will be Group D, which has Byung, has Major, has A-Bomb, and the Brazilian, who is it?
Our Brazilian is...
Oh no, it's the coach from CJ Entus.
Oh yeah, it's Trot.
Yeah, Trot, sorry.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not that Brazilian, guys.
No.
He's quite Korean.
He could be an honorary Brazilian, I guess, if he really wants to be.
So a lot more StarCraft coming up today from the Intel Extreme Masters, Sao Paulo, and it should get really good.
As much as I am a day walker and Ginger and I burn instantaneously in the sun and set aflame, I am enjoying myself here in Sao Paulo. I really am. It's a fantastic country, and I wouldn't pass up Brazilian barbecue for the world. It was...
But you passed up on Brazilian football. Shame on you, James.
I don't like football. I can't help it. I'm sorry.
If people wonder, like, I invited James to watch football with me yesterday, and James said no.
I'm sorry, Roddy. I'm sorry. Maybe next time in another life when I do like football.
I was there to support Palmeiras, and it was a great experience.
The video, I will admit, made it look pretty good. It did. So...
Command Center going down on the low ground once more. Kelazhur not too afraid of doing that kind of stuff. This might open a small window of opportunity for Tunico to be annoying in a certain phase. There's a Reaper in the main base working on drones. Actually almost picked up a drone.
Oh, not too badly done, but does save it in the end there for Tunico. As wiggling on around and getting away from these Zerglings, always super important. But as I said before, this map, you know, for that Reaper opening, it's the go-to for me, at least, with the Hellion follow-up to try and make this as annoying as possible for the Zerg to really deal with.
Yeah, on this map you really want to keep those Reapers alive, I want to say, because later on you can be very annoying with both Reapers and Hellions. It can be so frustrating for a Zerg to deal with. It can make it so much harder for him to saturate that third base, and you can do a much better job than on a map like Frost in slowing down his economy.
That was really cute control there from Kelazhur, as he did kill off an extra Zergling during all of that. Still hasn't got himself a drone though, which is exactly what he desperately wants to. And the delay on those jumps, we could have seen that Reaper die to the Queen.
It got close, but the Queen a little too slow to that party.
Yeah, poor little girl. Well, we have the 3 barracks now before Command Center.
So we're going to see a lot more aggression coming out this time from our Brazilian Terror, and I don't mind it at all. It is Youngsu after all, especially if these Reapers continue to be annoying. Picking up 2 drones over here, very well done by our Brazilian Terran. Like, he can really put Tunico in a position where Tunico think it is safe to to squeeze out a ridiculous amount of drones, and then suddenly he might be caught up by surprise by a very quick stim timing.
Yeah, great opportunistic play there from our Terran, as for now we have the factory just cranking out those Hellions, and they're going to rendezvous along with these Reapers to make it even more of an annoyance at this natural.
And still no third hatchery from Tunico. I mean, it's only 6 minutes and 30 seconds. You could say not the end of the world, and he wouldn't be able to saturate it properly anyways right now, because he would just lose all those drones. But still, he might be a little short on larva in the near future. And I really think that this game is unfolding quite well for Kelazhur once more.
Yeah, I think he wanted to send out a drone to the third base, but then he was a little apprehensive about his decision after anticipating maybe the next follow-up, especially now seeing the factory and also the Hellions. So he has to be careful about when he wants to take it.
This isn't perhaps even an unfortunate scout, as crazy as that sounds, as he sacrificed an Overlord in the main base, but he didn't see those 2 additional Rexes. What he did see was a tech lab with 1 Rex. So he might be thinking that he has to worry about Marauder Hellion, as crazy and as outdated as it sounds. If I was scouting that, I would probably feel like that. I hope for Tunico that he's able to make the proper read.
Well, Kelazhur now moving down to that third base and looking to pile on the pressure, as we have double evolution chambers come wall off the natural. But Kelazhur sees that the rocks are still intact, so it's going to be all the harder here for Tunico to reinforce the third. Yep,
there are no queens here yet. Crucial is not that far. These Hellions and Reapers could do a reasonable job, but of course our Terran doesn't know what we know. He doesn't know there are only 11 Zerglings out on the field, So he doesn't want to go too deep into that corner, because if he would get surrounded, it would make his follow-up push a lot weaker.
Yeah, and he forced, I mean, a lot of Zerglings in that poke just then. So it does detract from the drone count. He goes back into drones, though, realizing that it's okay to do so. And the Zerglings actually going for a... Are they really going to go for a full-on counter-attack? That would be really weird.
I think he's just once more trying to set up some sort of a sandwich, but it's not possible right now. The Hellion count is too high. There are Reapers, and above all, there will be Marines and Medevacs there to support it. I think he's just trying to see if he could go for some sort of a run. All of the depots are up, no chance of succeeding.
Certainly, and well, he did have control of the watchtower there, so he did see those Hellions coming up to that location, but still, Kelazhur too on his toes to allow any damage to them to happen.
Man, this is going to be hard. How is he going to deal with this big push? He doesn't have a Bailing Nest yet, does he? No, he doesn't have Bailings yet. Okay, now the Bailing Nest goes down. That's kind of late, though, because the first Marines and Medevacs are already making their way across the map. This is a scary push from my Terran play. We see 24 links in production. This Zergling near the Xel'Naga watchtower will identify what's going on. And I think right now Tunico is like, red alert, I could really use some Banelings.
Certainly, and Kelazhur was able, during the open bracket, to kill off Drakon with this exact same push. So now, will it work out here against Tunico as he drops the scan, kills off some creep? There's a lot of Zerglings on either side, but he doesn't have Banelings, as you pointed out before. This could be really bad without Banelings. All of the Zerglings absolutely disintegrate under the pressure. The Queens are going to die, and this third base is just ransacked.
Wow, this could might as well be curtains. A lot of links went down. He still has 52 drones, but losing this base, that's so painful as a Zerg. You never want to be on even bases against a Terran player. Now he's morphing all of the Banelings, but they are in range of these Marines. The Marines are going to stem off this ramp, and they might actually be able to pick up the majority of them, and then the Hellions can soak up some shots as well. I think this might be it.
Yeah, focusing down, splitting forward, and then making sure that he doesn't die off to them as they exactly pop, as now Kelazhur completely in position and prime position to move on to play against Hero. He gets in a great location, so those Zerglings can't wrap around him. They're going to die off. Kelazhur is on form.
Great performance here by our Brazilian Terran player. GG is called, and Kelazhur will win this match against his fellow country fellow Tunico, and perhaps puts himself up there as the best Brazilian player. Of course, Shakti looked awesome yesterday, but in general, you know, Tunico was still considered to be the best Brazilian, so this is really cool. I'm happy for him, as he's a great dude. And seems nice, and he's going to go up against Hero once more.
Yeah, and he's going to get another opportunity to try and move on to the round of 8. It's a tall order, but now this man, Tunico, unfortunately for him, is out of the Intel Extreme Masters, while Kelazhur looks to move on, our Brazilian-Irish hybrid Terran.
Brazil's such an international country as well. They have so many different cultures mixed in. I mean, obviously, when you have such a large country and you have like 250 million or more people living here, you have lots of different people.
And just in Sao Paulo alone, there's like 20, 25 million people.
18 million.
It's massive.
18 million, I think.
Is it 18 million? Yeah. Okay.
It's more than in my entire country.
It's crazy how big Sao Paulo actually is. You look out the window from the hotel, in one direction it's just skyscrapers, apartment blocks everywhere, and it doesn't stop, ever. It's crazy.
See the Brazilian players showing some love for each other. This is always that moment where like, I know you're really happy and you're kind of nice, but come on, man, leave me alone. Either way, it's cool. He's gonna go up against Hero once more. I watched him play earlier today. It was fun. Kelazhur kind of tried to surprise Hero with like a crazy Rexes play, like 5 Rexes on one base. But Hero, being very diligent with his scouting, he knew exactly what was going on. I think he's gonna try to play a little more straight up this time. It's going to be hard regardless, but maybe he's been taking a few notes of Bolt. Either way, I think it's going to be a fun best of 3.
I certainly think so too. The winner of that one will advance on to the round of 8, guys. So don't go anywhere here for the Intel Extreme Masters. We'll be back with our next match, Kelazhur versus Hero.